Hi everyone and welcome to the studio. So I've just finished filming this in-depth tutorial for my patrons of these beautiful tulips, and we're looking at, it's not just tulips, we're looking at so many other different elements, composition, colour, negative painting. So there's an awful lot going on with that composition, and what I thought was it deserves a little warm-up, and I'm going to share that with you guys as well. And at face value, it just looks like one simple little snowdrop, but again, it's so much more. I know a lot of you struggle with the negative painting, so this is a lovely tutorial for you to practice that. And of course, you get to practice colour mixing as well, a lovely composition, and of course, kind of produce this beautiful little snowdrop. Now, if you're interested in my tutorials on my Patreon channel, I do supply 2 full tutorials per month, and you can find all that information and so much more on my website at www.artbyboon.co.uk. Are you ready? Go grab your brushes and let's paint a delightful little snowdrop. So before I start the tutorial, let me go through the materials I'm going to be using today. I've got a piece of Fabriano watercolour paper and I've cut it to this nice long length. I've got big jug big jug of clean water. Always got my kitchen roll handy just at the side here, and I've got a size 6 brush. Colour wise, now you can change these colours, but I'm going for the Cadmium Yellow, I'm going for the Turquoise, I'm going for a lovely Magenta, and my new favourite, which is the Sodalite Genuine. And I do love how that reacts with certain colours. It just gives you those lovely little textures. But of course, feel free to explore other colours. Now, I've got the drawing down and I've drawn a simple snowdrop. And I've also put, can you see that line? There's a line running just here. Very faint line, and I've not drawn it too hard because I'm not necessarily going to keep to it, but I want to try and keep some of it. You'll see what I mean when I get started, because in my Patreon channel we've been painting lots of florals and we've been containing them in a box, which means that we then can add our background washes and only worry about certain areas rather than the whole thing. So for instance, if my line is here, then I've got an area here that I can play around in. That's one area. I've got a slightly larger area here I can play around with, and then a bigger area here. So it's just a little kind of simplified, I won't say trick, but it just helps, I think, to kind of gain confidence when putting in those background washes. So let's just move these out of the way. And let's start to put a bit of colour on. Let's do colour first. We always want a bit of colour, don't we, in our lives? So okay, I'm going to take the Cadmium Yellow and I'm going to add a little bit of that turquoise. Let's make a nice sappy, lovely green. Oh, perfect. Now, I'm not going to put any wax resistant to this. I'm just going to leave my whites as white paper. So I'm going to block in this shape here, this top half of my little snowdrop. And oh, there's another little bit there we can add. And I'm going to leave that little highlight there, just that lovely little bit of white paper. Now, if you're not confident doing that, then you can put a bit of masking fluid down, or I like to use wax resist. While we've got that on the brush, let's use our flat of our brush. Let's really just push in that lovely shape there, look, just using the side of my brush, and we'll have it kind of just coming off the paper there as well. Let's bring that down. You don't have to be too perfect. There's another beautiful little leaf shape. We'll have that. And I like a bit of colour continuity in my painting. So I'm going to be adding red in the background. So the same red, the magenta, I'm just going to take a little touch of that and I'm going to pop it just into little bits of my greens. I know that looks a bit strange now, but you'll see what I mean when I talk about continuity later, about the colour continuity and everything having a lovely flow. Now, I know that green's still wet and you know it's still wet, but we're going to be brave. I'm going to take my blue. I forgot to mention the blue, didn't I? I'll have to put that on the material list. Yes, we've got an ultramarine blue. Totally forgot. Let's pop that nice dark in on that side. I want the light to come from this side, so I'm just going to wet that top area there. Can you see the green is actually running into that? And I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. And look, I don't mind going out of the lines either. It's all good. Okay, and oh, let's put a nice little dark into that section as well. So we're just leaving those half shapes there as clean white paper. Now obviously I do need to let it dry before we continue, but I might just do one more thing. Let's just take our turquoise again, our yellow turquoise, and let's put in a little shape, a bit more yellow, just into that area, look, just to suggest the inside of that flower as well. But yeah, it's that time, isn't it? So I'm going to let it completely dry before I can move on to the next stage. So once it's lovely and dry, we can start to work on the background now, because for me, a good floral is a combination really of slight details into the flower itself, and then more detail, more kind of darker washes in the background. Everything having a balance and a colour balance as well, which I think is important. So let's have a look at what the Cadmium Yellow, let's start with that. And let's do this section here, because that's going to be the easiest one, isn't it? So I can paint into this section with my yellow. I'll try and keep to that line, but I'm going to break it anyway, so it doesn't matter if you don't keep to it exactly. Let's take that Sodalite Genuine and let's watch that explode. Oh, it's just a beautiful combination, that it really is. And I'm keeping, can you see, I'm keeping that lovely highlight that runs along the little stem there holding the flower. I'm just going to get a bit of kitchen roll. I'm just going to give mine a little thirsty bit of paper there so I can lift a bit of colour away. Let's bring that shape down. And it gets to meet that section. That wasn't too difficult, was it? Shall we do this section? Let's be brave. Let's take the yellow and let's do the same thing here. Let's put some of that yellow in. And let's take our Sodalite Genuine and pop a bit of that in. And let's take another colour now. Let's take our gorgeous magenta and pop some of that in there, look. And it's just lovely, isn't it, to watch those washes kind of flow together. A bit of tissue, just lift away some of those little beads. Let's come in with some fresher red. So I'm just painting into that shape. Down we come. We've got red on this side, so I'm going to put a bit of the red on that side as well. And then let's change tack here. Let's put a bit of the Sodalite into that. See, the beauty of this is we're all going to have different paintings, because you might not put your colour combinations where I am putting mine. I do like that red, so I'm going to have more of that. And then I just think I'll soften it down with some brighter yellow. And I'm just letting that run all the way down the paper like so. Okay, so I like to spray into mine, and that's completely up to you. It's still a little bit wet, but another thing you can do instead of spraying into that is just get a wet brush and just start to tap into those little areas there, look. And that's going to break the paint up even more and give us a lovely kind of extra bit of texture into those areas. Obviously now I need to come back onto this side, and don't worry if, like me, you've got kind of some raggedy edges as well. It doesn't matter, we can come in and do a little bit of housework there later on and just tidy it up a bit. So I'm going to turn mine this way, because It's easier, basically. It's much easier. So let's start again. And we've got the yellow here. So I'm going to introduce it at the top here as well. Following that shape round. Oh, now how far shall I take it back? About that far, I think. Let's take some Sodalite and drop a bit of that in as well. I love watching colour explode like that. It's just, it's just lovely, isn't it? A bit more yellow, I think. And then I can see on the other side, I came in with a little bit of that red. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take the red and I'm going to start to introduce that as well. You can add water, you can soften it down, you can make it darker, lighter. Now, let's turn our picture the right way around. That's better, isn't it? Let's take some more yellow. Just kind of soften this edge away a little bit now. Plenty of water. I've got a lovely little nook and cranny here that I'm going to go into. And you know what? I think I'm going to drop a bit of the Sodalite into that section as well. Oh, in fact, while I've got it, that area is still wet, I'll add a bit more there as well. Now, let's pull this shape across just to suggest that this little leaf is in front of that section. Just keep adding more colour. As long as your water's nice and clean and you're cleaning your brush in between adding these washes, all should be good. There you go, lots of water. And again, I'm going to just tap in little bits more water just to soften that wash off. And now I'm going to break this shape a little bit. Clean water. Let's just pull it out a bit more. Just, it's not quite dry, so it's giving me a softer edge. And I'm going to come in when this is dry and do a little bit of housework. A little bit of tidying up. I think I'd like just a little bit more colour, just for the balance really, at the top here. Lots of water. That's what it's about. And I'm fiddling. So I'm going to put my brush down. Let's give it a spray as well while we're here. A little spritz. And go make ourselves a lovely drink and wait for this to dry. So as you can see, this one is nice and dry now, and really it's just a matter of doing a bit of housework, isn't it? I love those colour combinations, by the way, and it's always worth exploring different colour combinations, but that really is, it's lovely, it's beautiful, isn't it? So, okay, where are we going to do our housework? Well, I'd like to have a little flip underside to that leaf, so I'm going to take my blue. And if the light's coming from this way, it's going to catch this side here. So I'm going to pop in a bit of a shadow colour and just take it down that left-hand side. I'd like to darken this area as well. Now I can do that two ways. I can use the ultramarine blue, or I could come in with that green again and just add a bit of blue to it to make it a bit darker. Let's pop that in. Make that a bit darker. Clean my brush. Just soften that little wash away. And finally, I think I'd like some details here, just to bring that shape back to life. So I'm going to use the same colours that I've used here. I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to pop it into this little section here. Let's take our Sodalite And let's really bring that in along that edge there, look. Just giving us that highlight back on that lovely little stem. I'm just letting it explode as well into that wet area. Any more for any more? Could keep going all day. Maybe a little bit more shadow just into that petal. And it's wonderful, isn't it? Because we've not really painted much of the flower, have we? It's all been about the background today. Let's put another little dark line just on that section, just to show it off a bit more. And of course you can come round here and you can continue with this housework theme where we can just pop in little bits of colour just into certain areas. But you know what? I think for now this one is done, and I've really enjoyed sharing that with you. Thank you so much for watching. Have fun painting it, and I'll see you next time. Take care.